Hi guys, I have something a little bit different for you today. I'm going to be showing you my mini album I made of my week-long trip to Paris. It's made with almost entirely the July-August Quirky main kit and I think some extras as well. And then just has a tiny bit from one washi tape we got in the last Quirky Kit. So other than that, it's all Quirky Kit. So when I was making this, first I went through all my photos and all my mum and dad and my brother's photos and chose my favourites. Then I laid it out like this. I made little plans. It's very similar to my Marbella album I made before. I have a video showing you that as well. So I knew I was going to make it 5 by 5 inch. So I just sketched out how I was going to lay out all the pages so that I knew what size I needed to print all the photos. It still went a little bit wrong because I accidentally forgot to print 2 of them, and I don't like to go back and print photos after I've started a project, so I replaced them with other things, and you'll see how I did that. So I did get doubles of all of the papers this time, which is why I wanted to do a mini album, because they do use quite a lot of paper if you use a paper for every page like I did. You could use white cardstock to make quite a different sort of mini album, to save pattern paper, of course. So this is my favourite paper in the kit. I think it might be Maggie Holmes, I'm not sure. And my idea when I chose this paper was that the front and back cover kind of match up like that to make the road, and because it's a travel album kind of, I thought that made sense. And then I like to keep the cover just really simple because it's going to get quite beat up, so you can't cover it in embellishments anyway, they'll just fall off. So I do very little journaling in this because I have a smash book and I journaled everything, and I'm going to be putting the journal of everything that happened in my smash book, and there's no point writing it out again. So I just did a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end. I started with where we were staying. We were staying by the Moulin Rouge, and I did try to group pictures. It's sort of vaguely chronological with some deviations, and also trying to make it kind of match across pages and things. So it's not hugely embellished either, because in a small size the pictures take up a lot of it, and I'm not really used to using loads of embellishments on photos. Inky Quill is really good at that, but I'm not really used to it. So I wrote art. We saw a lot of art. That's the one time I used something not in the Quirky Kit. Then I use photos in different sizes. I think that makes it really interesting. So here I've got 2 colourful pictures opposite each other. They've got similar colours. That was my thinking. And then I wrote colour because that's what I was thinking about. The die cut shapes were really useful for this because I had a lot of photos. I didn't want to use really bulky embellishments, and there weren't really any bulky embellishments in the kit this month anyway, but that was my thinking. There is some layering there. I've got doily and a pattern paper layered up there. And before I did the embellishing, I cut out all of these papers first. And I went through and tried to sort of get, like, the mustard yellow here and the yellow here kind of match. That was my thinking across the spread, making sure they match with the photos and stuff. I first cut out flowers a few times, and I also punched shapes from the papers because I quite like those sort of little dot type embellishments. And actually, I completely forgot these came in the kit. I could have used these a few times. I might add that in after. I'm also thinking I might want to add in some Nouveau drops, but since we've got Nouveau drops in past kits, but since we didn't get any this kit, I thought I'd wait and show you how it is now. So this is the Louvre. And then these didn't happen right next to each other, but they're not really for a specific event or day, they're just nice pictures. So I popped them together. Here I was thinking about how I'm facing kind of that way, and then my dad's facing kind of this way, so I thought it would match well to put them that way round rather than the other way, for example. Here's more fussy cut flowers, and I wasn't really thinking about how well this yellow matches with the other yellow when I was doing this page, but it actually does. And I really like the tiny word stickers for this. I use quite a few of them. Then this one I wanted to use one of the journaling card things I got. I can't remember if it was in the main kit or an extra. Then here I'm kind of matching dark photos together. Now here's one thing I would suggest. Generally I try and think about where my holes are going to go, but here I forgot to think about that, and it's gone almost through the tip of the arrow, which is a bit of a shame because it sort of defeats the point of an arrow. That's Saint-Chapelle. Yeah, in this one we got the premature ink pad in the kit, and I stamped a heart here, and to make sure it was light enough to see the 10, this is a shadow stamp, so I stamped once on scrap paper and then the second stamp I did on here. I probably could have done it darker, but I wanted to make sure you'd be able to see the 10 through it, otherwise it's just happiness level nothing. So here's an example of where I was going to put a photo, but instead I forgot and I put a little journaling card thing. So by the river. I really like the full page photos because you can get nice big photos with that. So this was my nighttime spread. I had a nighttime spread from my Marbella album and I really liked it as well. Oh, my front cover's gone around there. So these are actually a collage of 4 photos, and I put the little heart in the middle. Later on I do the 4 photos, but I print them all separately so I could sort of squeeze them into the page I was printing on, because I print my photos on A4 sheets. And this works more seamlessly for this kind of effect, but the other one's in the daytime, so I don't think you would notice so much, whereas this one, I think if you printed each one separately, you would really be able to tell there were gaps between the photos. So now we're on to the Disney portion of the album. So we spent about 5 days in Central Paris and then a couple of days in Disney. Well, not staying at Disney, but we went to Disney. So I signalled the change there. So here my thinking was orange of the Thunder Mountain and the yellow of the stars kind of goes together. And then these are in the same sort of area of the park. And then I thought, picture of my brother, picture of me next to each other. And just because, as I say. And then this one's cars. There were actually quite a few pictures we took with various cars that were around the park. Like this one, it's a picture. We waited quite a long time for this ride, which was probably not the most worthwhile ride, but Disneyland was absolutely poor. Like, it was chucking it down in Disneyland. Loads of the rides got flooded. This was one of the few that was open before we left, so we waited for ages, but only 2 could fit in a car, so my dad went around by himself and I took a picture of him. And it was my mum and dad's 25th anniversary, and they found, and it was also Disneyland Paris's 25th anniversary, so they took a picture in the card that said 25. And I cropped this photo. There were a lot, this was the buggy parking area, so there were loads of buggies around there. I cropped them out, kind of. And you can kind of get an idea of how damp it was there by our faces, if it focuses. Okay, looks like it doesn't want to focus. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can kind of... That's an accurate summation of how we felt once the downpour had just stopped for a short while. Luckily, Disney Parade still happens. I have some photos from that, and then the Small World ride. Rope Bridge. And then there was meant to be another photo, but it was the other one I forgot to print, and these were meant to both be on one page. But I quite like that I made a double page spread of this, because meeting the Disney characters is quite a big part of Disney. And these are some nice family photos. So I put new friends. Because I thought Disney characters was, 1, a bit literal, and 2, quite long. I would use a lot of my letter stickers, and I'm a bit of a hoarder, so I didn't want to do that. And then we're on to the final page. And I ended with a full page photo of the Disney Illuminations. My dad took this by accident. He had it on a long exposure and moved the camera, so all the lights kind of moved, but I really like it, and I thought it would be nice kind of as a finishing note, just remembering like Magic of Disney, all that. And then final thoughts. And the back cover, which you've actually already seen, is just the paper. So that was just a look at my mini album. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have ideas if you have any holiday photos and you want to do a mini album. I really like doing this kind of thing when I have a lot of photos from one type of thing, because my last family holiday I spent pretty much from the summer till the winter only scrapbooking photos from that holiday, because I did 12 by 12 layouts for all of my favourite photos, and I have a lot of really nice like layouts that I like now because I had a lot of nice photos. But I think doing this is kind of more satisfying, having it all little, having the focus on the photos, like saying Paris on the front, just knowing what it is. So that's all. I know the next Quirky Kit is going to be coming very soon, so I'm excited for that. My Instagram and the Quirky Kit blog will be linked down below. Thank you for watching. Bye!